A man of high worth is one who has high standards and values. A man who doesn't need your approval to feel good about himself. A man with a thorough grasp of his strengths, weaknesses, and passions, as well as the emotional intelligence to know how to put them to good use. A man who can be completely honest about himself at all times, even when it's tough or uncomfortable. One who is unafraid to stand up for what he believes in, without apologizing or making concessions. Who understands that vulnerability is a strength rather than a weakness, to the point where he embraces vulnerability as an opportunity rather than avoiding it like the plague. You want to exchange intimate chats with someone with whom you can open up your vulnerabilities without fear of them exploiting you. You'll notice that these signals are difficult to imitate, and the only way to become more like them is to develop your own set of standards and beliefs, which you must adhere to every day. As a result, if you want to be a high-value man, you must first determine what you stand for and then commit to it. No one is born with great morals, ethics, or self-esteem, let alone emotional intelligence. These are hard-won characteristics that come only after years of devotion and commitment. It is not the years in your life that count, but the life in your years. As the saying says, life is a marathon, not a sprint. You'll learn that the most satisfying things in life aren't always easy to get by. They demand time, effort, and tenacity, as well as patience and perseverance. A man of high worth is one who has mastered himself and recognizes that he can always improve. He never rests on his laurels, instead seeking higher peaks to scale, more knowledge to gain, and more abilities to master. Let's look at 10 unmistakable characteristics of a high-value male. 1. They are self-motivated. High-value guys are motivated by what they want to do and be remembered for, not by what other people think or desire for them. They first inspire themselves, then others. They may be influenced by others, but they do not spend their life according to the expectations of others. They are motivated by their own ambitions, objectives, and goals. They are very aware of what they desire in life, to the point where it has become the lens through which they view everything else. It doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing situation when it comes to self-awareness. It's not about being completely focused on your objectives every day without slacking or wavering. It's all about identifying when you've fallen behind and taking aggressive steps to improve. It's not about being flawless, since you'll never be able to declare that you're completely self-motivated 24 hours a day, 365 days a year without failing or faltering. 2. They put values ahead of people. Assume you're dedicated first and foremost to your values and principles. In that scenario, you're willing to put your principles ahead of other people's feelings, even in stressful or unpleasant situations. There's a distinction to be made between nice and kind. The former occurs when you give in to someone else's agenda in order to keep them happy, but the latter occurs when you do what you know is right for everyone involved deep down in your bones, even if it means sacrificing some transient satisfaction or relationships with others. A man of high worth chooses kindness. He understands that his ideals are far more important than the pleasures of the moment. 3. They are genuine in their interactions with others. High-value men don't hide or mask their intentions, and they speak and act in ways that are authentic and consistent with who they are. They are aware of how easily we can be duped by people who claim to be someone they are not. They understand that transparency builds trust. Therefore, they make a point of sharing themselves honestly with others rather than erecting false barriers between them and others. 4. They don't waste their time drowning in drama. People who have a life purpose that isn't linked with their genuine values and ideals in life cause drama, rather than the desire to exert control over others through hidden passive-aggressive behavior. These are the types of people who are continually causing havoc because they feel weak until they are causing difficulties for others. High-value guys only participate in activities that make them joyful, not ones that cause them additional stress. 5. They have a sense of self-worth that isn't based on outside validation. A man of high worth understands that his self-worth is derived from inside and has nothing to do with what others think of him. He realizes that a person's opinions will never accurately reflect who he is. As a result, he doesn't require anyone's permission before making the decisions he believes are best for him. If someone insults or criticizes you, for example, they may assume it represents your character since it is simpler than accepting personal responsibility for their own inadequacies. They have no idea how insecure and narcissistic they have become as a result of their victim mindset. When high-value men are assessed or criticized, they have the emotional intelligence to recognize it. They never associate it with something negative about themselves. Instead, they recognize that the opinions of others have no bearing on who they are or what is best for them. 6. They have good social relationships. If you want to improve your self-esteem, you must first learn how to treat yourself well before expecting others to do the same for you. This entails surrounding yourself with positive people who provide you with the emotional support you require while remaining non-toxic and depleting. If you achieve this, your primary relationship will be with yourself, and from there you will be able to have healthy relationships with everyone else. Family and friends are a natural extension of a high-value man since he's already put out the effort to be his best self first. 7. They accept full accountability for their conduct. High-value men recognize that they are solely accountable for everything good and bad that happens in their life. Whether it's happiness, prosperity, love, health, or anything else, it's all possible. This is due to the amount of time and effort they devote to looking after themselves and those closest to them. This kind of awareness inspires you to make positive adjustments in other areas of your life, because you are aware that it is your responsibility to do so. 8. They are continually learning and growing. Curiosity, which is vital for everybody who wants to live a full life, no matter how old they are or where they are right now, comes with high self-esteem. Asking yourself questions like what can I learn from this, or how else could I tackle this problem, demonstrates that having a good outlook on life isn't about getting everything perfect the first time. Making errors and learning from them, on the other hand, is an important part of becoming a better person. Overall, successful people aren't afraid of failure. Instead, they understand that failure is merely a means of strengthening them. They are always looking for new ways to push themselves, which is why, rather than becoming caught in rigid thought patterns with little potential for development, they continue to grow and evolve with the times. 9. They are self-assured without being arrogant or cocky. High-value men understand that while having high standards is admirable, it should never be done at the expense of others. People who respect themselves don't need to cast others down to prove their worth to others. Instead, they let their acts and behavior speak for themselves. If you want people to realize how terrific you are, show them via your words and actions rather than boasting about it repeatedly. As someone who compensates for poor self-esteem with afterthoughts and empty words does. 10. They are tenaciously honest. Communication is one of the most critical aspects of any relationship, whether romantic or platonic. And high-value men recognize this. They are willing to share their ideas with others rather than shutting themselves off from the world to prevent their ego from being damaged. Being able to connect intellectually with someone else isn't only about understanding how to communicate intelligently. It's also about having enough empathy for the people you're dealing with, so your message is heard clearly rather than misconstrued due to a miscommunication.